Obviously, she didn't write this. This seems like a word salad on a Kamala Harris level. But I always love when people, I'm doing this for the kids.
For the kids.
It seems like Riley Gaines and all these people, they're attacking kids. Well, let's say the high school boy that's pitching softball and won a state championship. Is he sitting around going, hey, there's kids I'm competing against that don't have my XY chromosome package, and I have a physical advantage? He doesn't care what kids he harms, whose feelings he hurts, whose advantage he uses to his own benefit. Simone Biles is in mid-season form. She's maybe in Super Bowl form. She's backpedaling very effectively here from the mess she created going after Riley Gaines. Let me read her tweet, and then we'll get both of our reactions. I wanted to follow up from my last tweets. I've always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sport. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges, and it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley Gaines, which I apologize for. These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that feel personal and harmful. Individual athletes, especially kids, should never be the focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over. I believe sports organizations have a responsibility to come up with the rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. We all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful. Hugs and kisses, Simone. Steve, were you moved by that statement that was written by her PR team?
Speaking of backpedaling, her husband is a defensive back. They were probably running ladder drills in the backyard this past weekend, maybe the 3-cone shuttle drill. I'm going to go back to something I've said before, Whitlock. I really believe 4 or 5 years ago, Simone Biles could have said this and gotten no pushback. In fact, she would have gotten a lot of support. Let's go back 3, 4, or 5 years ago. When she quit, and that is what she did, she quit in the Olympics on her team, there were especially a lot of white journalists running over themselves to justify this. I mean, I saw some of the Twitter battles, and these guys were acting like her PR flacks, trying to justify what she did. Fast forward to 2024 and 25, what I call the Scott Jennings era, when people can push back, fight back, and have a conversation and debate. Those days are over. That safe cocoon that people like her were in what you'd call the summer of George Floyd, that is now past. So after what took place here with Riley Gaines, let white girl summer begin.
I don't think she wrote this. I don't think if she had to defend it, she could. I mean, she's an athlete and she's talking about competitive equity. What is competitive equity? I thought she just wanted to beat the other guy. Who sits around in competition and think, well, is this equitable? Was Carl Lewis out running in front of everybody else going, well, this isn't equitable. Let me slow down so that we can all finish in a tie. What? Obviously, she didn't write this. This seems like a word salad on a Kamala Harris level. But I always love when people, I'm doing this for the kids.
For the kids.
It seems like Riley Gaines and all these people, they're attacking kids. Well, let's say the high school boy that's pitching softball and won a state championship. Is he sitting around going, hey, there's kids I'm competing against that don't have my XY chromosome package, and I have a physical advantage? He doesn't care what kids he harms, whose feelings he hurts, whose advantage he uses to his own benefit. I just this whole someone's criticizing these kids.
Jason,
are kids really that fragile?
This really
Go
reminds
ahead.
me, and we had this happen in boxing this past weekend in Norfolk, Virginia. Keyshawn Davis was a lightweight champion. He didn't make weight, and he said, "I grew out of my body." So the opponent, Edwin De Los Santos, who looked like a prisoner of war trying to make weight, did not want to negotiate a new weight class. So invariably, there's these fans who are waving pom-poms for Davis saying, "Well, what about the health and safety of Keyshawn Davis?" And I say, yeah, okay, that's fine. What about the health and safety of the guy that actually made weight? That was in the sauna for probably 8 hours, that had one lemon slice for a whole week trying to make weight. What about his health and safety? See, these things are always very much one-sided. But I think all of these athletes, I don't know if they feel an obligation or if it is a pressure to go out there and be social or political advocates, like that tennis player we talked about earlier this week. I don't know if she felt compelled to say, well, I just want to really represent Americans that look like me. See, and again, because maybe if she just would have left it at, hey, I did this for America and not the other part, it would have been fine. But I do wonder, was there a cultural pressure for the addendum? And I am of the belief, I have no proof, but based on what we know about Doge and who's funding USAID and who's getting the money, Simone Biles probably took this not as an obligation, but as a gig. She was probably paid to do this.
Other people jumping in, trying to ride this wave. Katie Nolan jumped in and defended Simone Biles, and I've seen other people jump in and defend and attack Riley Gaines. I just don't understand it. They act like this issue is just super complicated, and Simone Biles, and this is really complex, and it's so hard. Why isn't it just as easy, just, okay, XX chromosomes, you compete here, XY chromosomes, you compete here. What? It just seems so simple to me, and they act like it's complicated. It's not.
These are the same people that told us about, 5 years ago? Trust the science. I mean, again, that's what we're doing. We are trusting the science. But I do wonder how many of these individuals, like Katie Nolan, I don't know her marital status, if she has a family, how many of these individuals have daughters? I will guarantee that I think an overwhelming majority of people that do, I don't know if they could say it publicly, but they absolutely, in private, I don't know if they do publicly, agree with Miss Riley Gaines.
Yeah, I don't think there's two sides to this issue among any rational people. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.